Hi everyone, this is Sherry Rice Smith with EFTforChristians.com. Now remember, if you have any emotional or physical issues, please don't use EFT for them. You call your own personal doctor, psychiatrist, and let him assist you with all of that. EFT is not a substitute for medical care. Today, what I'd like to do, I really want to start making some videos about the science behind EFT. I think this is extremely important for us Christians because so many times I hear Christians say, this is so new age looking, it's so weird. And I even hear it worse than that. I hear, oh, this is from Satan, which of course my answer to that is I never read in the Bible where Satan healed anybody, only Jesus did healing. So if this is a healing modality, I don't really think it's from Satan. If anything, Satan loves keeping us in our pain, all twisted and tied up in our own emotional issues, because that just makes us completely effective for the kingdom of God. So I want to start doing some bits and pieces about how God created us to heal. And there are so many different chunks to this physiology that it actually blows my mind. Of course, it's of immense interest to me as a nurse. I find it fascinating. So first off, everything that EFT is based on, I never learned in nursing school because it was 45 years ago and not very little of it was even known back then. So today what I want to discuss is cell receptors or cellular receptors. I tend to call them cellular receptors. And this is all the work of Dr. Candace Pert back in the early to mid 1970s. Candace died a couple of years ago, and that was a real loss to the neuroscience world. But back in her younger days, she was doing pharmacology research at NIH Mental Health. I believe they started out with one of her first research projects was they wanted to understand why morphine worked for pain. They knew it worked, but they just didn't understand the mechanism behind it, and they were really curious. And it's at that point that she discovered that each of our cells, and we have somewhere like between 50 and 100 trillion cells in our body, depending on your size, each and every individual cell has many, many cell receptors. And I use the number between 10,000 cell receptors to Dr. Joe Dispenza, a chiropractor who loves energy medicine, says that there's 1 million receptors on nerve cells. And that's why, we pick up so much of the emotion. When you think about it, a nerve cell feels more than any other cell. It's just like, wow, isn't that crazy? So anyway, so we have these cellular receptors and we have a ton of them. Now, a cell receptor is a lock and key like thing. It's real hard, kind of, it's a little difficult to explain because it's on a tiny little itty bitty cell. It's a lock and key, and it's a monogamous, and it lets nutrients in and out of, into a cell to keep it healthy. So let me explain. So if you have a estrogen receptor, it can't take in vitamin D. And if you have a vitamin D receptor, you can't take in estrogen. And so when the vitamin D comes floating by the cell in the bloodstream, and it's the correct cell receptor, it just kind of flips open and the vitamin D gets into the cell to keep it healthy. So what Dr. Pert surmised, and I'm not going to say we've absolutely totally proven this, but this is kind of some of the prevailing theories and the best of why EFT works. But her whole point is that these cell receptors get clogged up with negative emotions and negative events in our life. And so you suddenly, all your cells in your liver, it can no longer take vitamin D in. So what happens? Your liver gets sick, and pretty soon a doctor diagnoses you with cirrhosis. And that doesn't usually work out so well. Our body, we get pretty much a new body every 7 years. Parts of us, we get new cells in certain organs, and in the brain particularly, every couple months. But the whole body's pretty much changed out every 7 years. But what's amazing is if you have damaged cells, in that 7-year period and that during that replacement, you don't get a brand new healthy cell. The body replicates the damaged cells. So if your liver's damaged and 7 years later, your liver's still damaged because you got new cells, but they're new damaged cells. And why is that? Because the part of it's the cell receptors are clogged up and they're still not getting the nutrients it needs. So my brain says, if tapping truly works, and we know it does because we watch people often heal when they tap, then what's going on? Well, we must be unclogging those cell receptors and letting the nutrients back into the cell so that the cell can get better. You know, it's like taking medicine. You give it what it needs, it gets healthy. So how does that mechanism work? Well, what we believe is happening is that each of our pieces of our DNA has little chunks of quartz crystals. And I think I talked about this in an earlier video. So our body is one big quartz crystal. All the fascia is all the connective tissue that covers everything. So that's your skin, your tendons, your muscles, your ligaments. My guess is your omentum that covers your abdominal cavity to hold your organs, you know, your bowels and your liver all inside where it belongs. You got, I think 40% or 60% of your body is connective tissue. So it's the largest, quote, organ we own. So there's a lot of quartz crystal in there. So when you tap, you set up a vibration throughout your body. I mean, you're like inside this micro vibrating's going on, even though you may not necessarily feel it. You're setting up, because quartz crystals are, like I said, what makes a good Swiss watch tick. It's a conductor of electricity. So you set up these vibrations, and I honestly think maybe it unplugs. It just knocks that plug right out of that cell receptor and allows the cell to get healthy again. So when we tap, we neutralize the damage. And because it's all emotion. It's emotion of how we feel in our body about some event or memory that we have that was just, a terrible event to us. So you can unclog them. It works. I'd give it a shot. I try to explain to clients and to anyone, frankly, who will listen to me, that I tap 20, 30, 40 minutes a day if you can find the time. I know it's really hard to carve that chunk of time out, but maybe tapping would be better than watching some crazy TV show that you really, really don't need. With families and working, it takes a lot of time. Take your break at work, and instead of sitting and looking at email, take a walk and tap. It probably in the end will fare better for you. Remember, what happens is when you tap, you drop your cortisol level and you allow your DHEA level to rise. And when your DHEA level's up, your cells rejuvenate and they get restored and they heal. So I would give your body a shot at this. You only get out of EFT exactly what you put into it. You put 5 minutes a day in, you're going to get 5 minutes of results. Teach your kids to tap as much as you can. If you have any downtime and you are watching TV or you go to a movie or you're sitting at dinner, just tap on the back of your hand on that gamut point. Just give your body a shot to be able to heal. To God be all the glory. He's the one that instilled this whole mechanism in us. It amazes me the care that he took to just allow us to heal it in a natural way. Oftentimes, it's not 100%, but it often works. And it just amazes me what a fantastic God that we actually serve. You have a great day. Remember, EFTforchristians.com. Check it out. Resource page. There's stuff on there. If you have questions, EFT for Christians at gmail.com. If you don't understand what I had here, let me know. I'll do some more. I'll answer the questions. Come visit me in Milwaukee twice a year. I have EFT classes. If you want to go for certification, you ladies that are looking, kids are gone. You're looking for something meaningful and purposeful in your life. Ask God. Perhaps you need to be a Christian EFT practitioner, and you can tap with Christians all over the world so that we can heal the church. All right. God bless you. You have a great day. We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.